Okay, we're recording. Let's get started. Welcome back. This is Crucible Tarot. It's a pleasure to have you here, and we will be reading for the sign of Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant for the month of July 2026. I've gone ahead and shuffled the cards, gotten everything sorted out so that we can just jump straight into the readings. And yeah, pleasure to have you here. If you like what you see with the channel, please be sure to give a like, share, subscribe, ding that notification bell. Leave comments below and support the channel any way you can, including stopping those pesky, dastardly scammers, because of course that is a big issue across YouTube, among other things. But yeah, just leave it at that. We're going to go ahead, look straight into the messages from two different kinds of oracle decks. We're going to look at firstly the Moonology Oracle deck, which is pretty popular alongside many other different tarot decks on the YouTube community. And who can forget the beautiful, the lovely, the one and only, the traditional Rider-Waite Tarot. So in saying that, we'll look straight into what's taking place for Gemini. We will try to do this, just understand what the message is for July 2026. Sometimes we can do predictions if there are pretty much straightforward questions that the querent needs to ask. But for this, since it's a collective reading, I normally just say, okay, what do you need to tell me about the collective Geminis, in this particular reading? And that's what comes out. So onward, we go into the first message. We see here that we talk about bring love into the situation. So this is the new moon in Aquarius. This is the time in which we are pouring energy into the first news cycle that encompasses things like your social circles, organizations, charities, things of that nature. So if you're getting involved in any of those, or you're reconnecting with friends or getting into new friend circles, then that's where this would kind of apply to it. In saying that, if you are dealing with a situation in which you need to balance between the head and the heart, because we are dealing with the water bearer, we oftentimes need to determine how much emotion and how much logic we need to apply to certain things, as you see here. In the traditional Rider-Waite deck, you see that the star card, which is the Aquarius card typically, the woman is pouring into terra firma with 5 different water kind of little creeks or pathways being forged into the ground. Those are the 5 senses. And then the pool of of the collective unconscious, or the collective consciousness rather, is the one where she's pouring water into the water, and one foot's on the terra firma, another is in the water. So that's where we get that kind of from. So it's about balancing the spiritual and the empirical as well, and being able to love in this manner tells us that we need to kind of have a more critical eye when we get involved in matters of the heart, and also not to become so zealously focused on the 5 senses that we can actually allow the intuitive and the collective consciousness to come in order to guide us and to balance out our energies. So in saying that, we'll go into the first set of cards here. A lot of pentacle related information or energies being communicated here. So we have firstly the 4 of Pentacles in the reverse, clarified by the 10 of Pentacles. I believe that was right. Yeah. Okay. So 4 of Pentacles in the reverse, you are letting go of something or choosing not to invest in something. And I suppose because of the legacy that you're trying to create, maybe you're focusing right now on family, trying to build that, and to focus more on building long-term wealth and stability. So if this is finance related, then maybe you're just trying your best not to overdo it when it comes to the type of investments that you make, because maybe you want to make a lot of money, you want to retire early, you want to create a long-lasting career that you and people around you can be proud of. When we see this kind of reading, though, the 4 of Pentacles in the reverse, oftentimes it's not about conservation, but it's about letting go. And, this can materialize in several ways. For example, you could say, I'm letting go of a career, and I'm finding that the investment and the time and energy that I put into this is not really working out for me. So I need to go ahead and move forward elsewhere. Or it could be maybe you're letting go of someone, an individual perhaps, because you realize that it's important for you to focus on your family. So however the cards manifest in your life, again, this is just merely an algorithm. It's not necessarily to say that it applies to everyone's specific story, but it can manifest and materialize in multiple ways. Oftentimes when you see the 10 of Pentacles, this is kind of like the expression of Malkuth in the Tree of Life, the 10th sphere, which is down here, because this does form the Tree of Life. And there are several cards that I've noticed in the tarot deck, especially in the traditional Rider-Waite, that do have the Tree of Life evidenced in it. So the other one that I'd noticed, and I believe I read for, oh God, who was it? It'll come back to me. I read for another sign tonight, and I saw that the card for the High Priestess also has the Tree of Life represented by the pomegranates behind her. And in doing that, it allows for her to receive the mysteries of the universe and unlock each of them. This is a material representation of the same thing, going all the way to Malkuth, the earth, and eventually materializing everything to the fullest. When we have the two of these cards put together, because you're thinking about your long-term security and financial growth, there are just some things that you're not willing to invest in, or some things that you don't feel are worth investing in any longer. Hopefully this doesn't mean that you've stopped investing in a relationship or a career, particularly a marriage of sorts, because then that would say that you're throwing away your long-term stability, which can, profoundly affect your future, which is not something that you want to deal with. In saying that, what's important for you to know and what's important for you to realize and understand. Oh yeah, the sign was Scorpio that I was reading for, by the way, where I found the other message about the Tree of Life in the High Priestess. So looking into this, what I find is that moving into the next phase, which is the present phase, you are now trying to get clear on something that particularly created a bit of a sudden shakeup or a disaster in your life. With this Queen of Swords, normally the Queen of Swords is trying her best to understand specifically what is taking place with something. That's why she has one hand raised with the sword and one hand open to welcome the information coming in, because she already knows the truth. And she is receptive to the truth, being feminine. However, she's also quite cutthroat in the sense that if you tell her a falsehood, she's willing to see, and she's capable of seeing the truth. So that means that she's willing to lob your head off or cut that tongue out because she knows that you're lying to her. And perhaps you are looking into this kind of matter. If I look at the way the cards are manifesting, I'm almost inclined to think that someone you're in a long-term relationship with may have stopped investing in it. And now you want answers because maybe something has particularly blown up in the relationship. So if you're in a marriage, for say, you may have noticed that your partner's grown cold and distant. They may have gone behind your back and cheated or done something that you wouldn't have approved of. And now you're trying to get answers on something specifically because you're noticing that some kind of catastrophic situation has taken place. Like you found out a secret that you didn't like. Something happened between the two of you, like a massive argument or a row. Whatever that is, that has essentially changed the dynamic of the relationship, and it's forced you to get back into getting clarity on things so that way you can understand how you're going to direct the relationship in the future. If this is job related or job focused, you may have suddenly decided to let go of let go of a career which did provide you with a lot of stability and finances and long-term growth. However, it's because maybe something within the company has not been so scrupulous, and you're realizing that it's best to get out of this before anything serious happens. Maybe you're having these conversations with yourself. Am I in the right field? Am I choosing the right path to take? And if so, I don't want it to create a conversation down the road where I'm forced to let go and leave this anyways. So, for example, you could be working in a field and or a particular sector, and that sector is being affected by AI, or there's a lot of downsizing, there's a lot of job layoffs. So you're just kind of like, maybe I need to start looking into something else because I don't want to get caught in this chaos in the future. Or maybe the chaos has already arrived, and now you're trying the best to do a bit of damage control and understand where to go to next. In the near future, what we have here, we have Three of Pentacles, and this is clarified by the King of Pentacles and the Three of Swords, with the King of Pentacles in the reverse. So this is, again, you're working with people and you're trying your best to build your networks, things of that nature, because you see King of Pentacles in the reverse. That's definitely someone who has been financially hit and affected by a Three of Swords moment. That's a betrayal, that is heartbreak, that is separation from something as well, because the Two of Swords normally are crossed with each other. The Three of Swords breaks the impasse, and it does it in a painful way. This is also a very GEVURAH based card, and it also represents Libra, Gemini, Aquarius as well. So if I read these three series of cards together, we could say there's a separation, something happening in your career. Maybe there's a loss of finances or a loss of funding in a business that you've owned, or a loss of funding in a company in which you're now forced to let go of that. You're then trying to get clarity on this disaster that's taken place with this Queen of Swords and the Tower in the upright energy. And then after that, you're now starting to understand what's taking place. And with the other three, you have two threes in this. You have the Three of Pentacles now moving into the King of Pentacles in the reverse. And the Three of Swords. It could almost be like a boss or someone that's very higher up experiences quite a bit of a shock. You may find this out later if you're investigating it currently with that Queen of Swords energy. However, what you find out is, after working with a few people, you may find out that this person has become insolvent. I don't know why that word's coming into my mind. The company has become insolvent, or maybe the person has filed for bankruptcy. You may be working with a client that has had to, let go of their relationship to your business because they're deeply affected by, the markets at this particular moment, and they're now being forced to change tack, which could affect your client base. But I think you're looking into it. You're trying to understand where this is all going. And furthermore, by doing that, you give yourself the ability to finally understand what went wrong. And that can, in a sense, give you a bit of closure that you may need in order to move forward with the next phase of your life. So, going forward, the outcome of all of this, we do have the Four of Swords, clarified by Nine of Wands, and the Six of Cups. So whatever's taken place, you're now going through a transition in a period of healing. After the Three of Swords comes the Four of Swords. That means that you're healing from the situation that has caused the heartbreak or the heartache. And it's like you want really badly to feel as if you can focus on the positive, think positively about the past, but you do have your defenses up and your heart is guarded because of the Nine of Wands. So if this was all related to like a relationship, for example, you notice that something's gone wrong, you try to investigate what, led to the crisis, and you then work with someone to find out the truth. The truth is very painful for you to understand. And so after that painful reawakening or that understanding, that clarity, then you're going to go into a period of healing in which you try to focus on the positive, even if it's difficult for you to do so. So this can happen in many ways. Investigate a company, the company is doing, poorly, and then you have to leave. You find out your spouse has like a massive gambling addiction, or that they have been cheating behind your back, or they've been hopefully not working as like an illegal trade or activity, which then upsets the apple cart. So it's important for you, dig deep, try to understand what's going on, and then after that you can release it, and then it's no longer a mystery to you. So in saying that, your advice for all of this is the Two of Wands in the reverse, and then the Knight of Cups in the reverse. There is no point in making a future with something that does not give you a sense of fulfillment or does not move you towards a sense of happiness. You don't want to invest your emotional or your financial integrity or resources into something that is not going to yield positive results, whether that is relationship-wise or finance-wise, or even in a project that you're trying to do. So it's important for you to recognize what is worth investing in, what is worth taking action towards. Because if you're just not feeling it, it's good to just kind of leave it in the past. I'm going to maybe do like a little bit more clarifications just to kind of understand what's going on. What is the disaster that is taking place? What is the Tower? Loss of emotions, a feeling about something. Final judgment on that. And so it's almost like you had to make a decision on this entire matter because you just understood that you weren't feeling it anymore and it wasn't worth investing in, as I said before. And in doing so, you had to withdraw from it, you had to pull away from it. It's almost as if you're dealing with a situation that gives you security and stability, but doesn't provide you with emotional support. And it doesn't provide you with the other foundation that's required in your life. Maybe that's why it's saying bring love into the situation, because you realize that, without a love of what you're doing, whether it's job based, a love of who you're with, if it's relationship based, your heart's not going to be in it, and you just won't be able to really connect with it. Because what I'm seeing here with the cards I've pulled out, I just guess I decided I wanted to look at some more. You have these three cards. You have the Lovers, you have the Three of Wands in the reverse, and the Four of Pentacles in the reverse. More and more information about a choice to not wait on something and to let it go. And so that message is coming out repeatedly throughout the cards that I see here. And what it's saying, it's not worth it. Release it, let it go. It's going to hurt, but you will get to where you need to go if you make the decision and the judgment call now, because that's precisely what's taking place here. So that's going to be it. That's your message for today. Thank you so much once again, Crucible Tarot. Lovely to read for you today, and I hope this has been some help for you. For this is also for the sign of Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising for the month of July 2026. If you like what you see here, please be sure to give a like, share, subscribe, ding the notification bell, leave comments as to how this pertains to your specific life. And I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you. Until next time, VIAM, GEVURAH, AMBULO.